What's up, everybody? This is Griffin with 7B Adventure. I haven't posted a lot of build stuff lately, but this is what I'm going to be working on soon. And I'm getting ready to drop the motor in so I can make motor mounts. This is my 76 Cherokee Chief. I call it Chief. Technically, it's not a Chief. It is a 76 Cherokee S. It is a narrow track. So that's what makes it a S instead of a Chief. A Chief would be a wide track, have the fender flare, 65-inch wide axles. I'm running 60. I am staying with a Dana 44 and Dana 44 rear. Right now it's got 305 gears, but I'm going to swap those out to 373s. Going in it is a 5.3 liter LS or truck motor. It's a Vortec. It's going to stay all stock, 706 heads, but it's going to get a 480 behind it with a passenger drop 241C. So I'm going to use the 241C because it's a decent transfer case. I normally run driver side drop because it's really hard to find the passenger side drops, but I found this one close to me for like 200 bucks. I'm going to go through it, make sure the pump's good, put new seals in it, and I'm going to run that. Not really going to run low range all the time because this is just going to be a street rig. It is lowered now. I took the lift blocks out of the rear, lowered the front down 2 inches so it sits lower. And then I upgraded the tires. It's running a Mickey Thompson. Wiring's gonna be pretty simple. I'm gonna redo the wiring because this has the old glass tube style fuses, and I have some shorts in this wiring harness, and I don't know where they are. And it's an old, it's 1976. That kind of needs updated, so it's gonna get like a painless 12 circuit fuse panel that has just my necessities: the headlights, turn signals, power radio, clock. Which I don't really need the clock, but I have one in the dash. I will put a new one in because I think it's a cool amenity to have. I'm going to be designing my own motor mounts for it. I've seen companies that have theirs, but I have a CNC plasma table, so I will be making my own. And then with the CNC tube dragon, I'm going to do a custom tubular style cross member just because I want to do some detail work in it. I will build a fuel tank in it. We just saw I was taking out the battery box. It was rusted and I need to rake room for the intake because of what's going to be sitting there. Motor sitting in. I got my engine mounts made. They're pretty simple. Instead of doing like a factory truck mount like I thought I was going to get this motor to sit as low as I wanted, it is running a poly bushing. Simple plates. So they're all welded. They're going to need to be painted. Both sides. Motor sits level. This is an 03 block, so it's an early generation 5.3 Gen 3, but this is a different intake manifold. This is actually for like a 05 Trailblazer LC9, which was a DoD motor, but I'm not running that, of course. This is an iron block Gen 3, so it doesn't have any of the provisions. Ideally, why I wanted to go with this, because the intake's cleaner than the truck intake I got. And the one I purchased with this motor did not come with injectors or fuel rails or a throttle body. I am going to be upgrading and running a Terminator X Max on this system because of tunability and drive-by-wire, and it's a lot easier to deal with a Holly because I run one system in my Jeep and I've set a couple other setup systems already. So I talked about everything I'm going to do on the motor. I talked a little bit. I was going to do long tube exhaust. I've hence changed my mind. I don't know if that's really going to make it in this video. So the reason why I was taking out the battery box, the location where I want to put there, I'm actually going to be running a turbo kit on this. I am going to run a lot of eBay parts just to put it together to make it as cheap as possible. So this isn't the one I'm going to run in this. Same log manifold, but not this exact one. I will order another one. This is the one I run in my big race rig, and the motor and transmission's out because I killed the transmission in that, so now I'm building that as well. This is just an eBay T76, not a GT45, it's actually T76, so it's 76 millimeter. I think like a 75.96 AR housing. T4 flange, it works really good. I made 8.5 pounds of boost with factory head bolts. Motor's still together. But while it's out, I am studding it. This one I am going to put studs in as well, just because I don't want to have the possibility of lifting a head. This is an eBay log manifold. I had no problems with them. It's $163 when I purchased it. It still had some casting flashing on it, so I had to clean it up a little bit. I added an external wastegate to the bottom of that one because where they put it on the Silverado kits puts it down below and it doesn't make it super efficient. So with how I set it up, it's not 100% perfect. How it worked in the rig worked really good, and it's gonna stay with that same system. It runs a 44mm tile wastegate, which is not a true tile, it's an eBay, so it's a China made one that says US made, but it's not. I got it for like 200 bucks compared to like a high dollar tile is $600. So it's a diaphragm style. They're not the best, at least the Chinese ones aren't. I had to take it apart. I changed a different wastegate spring in it and set it up so it'll only run 7 pounds of boost, but the spring I put in ended up with only 4 pounds. Which worked out really good when I was building the Suburban, but this is gonna be close to how I'm gonna set this one up. I like the log manifold. They're a little bit more efficient than standard headers, and I'm not worried about it cracking because like the Chinese headers aren't as strong either. With that setup, I run, give me a second, for the driver's side, I actually run a factory truck manifold, but I cut off 3-bolt flange because I don't like running with the gaskets. They always tend to blow out on me. So I welded on a V-band flange, and this was stainless, so I used 304, and this being cast, I heated it and got it to where it would adhere. I didn't want it to crack, and I double checked it, let it cool slowly, peened it. We'll see if that focuses up. It's not 100% the best welds, because I am still getting better at my TIG welder. But 304 stainless filler, I ran 16th, and then I was running a 16th filler, or 16th tungsten, so nothing super fancy. So here on the Cherokee, it's gonna run pretty close to the same system. It runs a log manifold on the passenger side. It will run this, not the same exact one. I will build another one, because this still goes back in my Suburban. And then I run a crossover with 2.5 inch V-band, and it's 2.5 inch crossover with flex pipe in the center, just because I know how much heat goes in that crossover tube and it wants to move. So to make it a lot easier to put together with the V-bands, because they kind of need to be closer than just like a gasket, I put a flex pipe in the center of it, and I'll show you that in a second. So this is the flex pipe. This is my crossover that I ran on Tree Hugger. It is a little twisted right now and dirty. It'll get cleaned up before I put it back in. And Tree Hugger is my Suburban. I have some shorts on it. I don't have any videos posted on it yet. I will, because I'm trying to get back into the YouTube. I enjoy playing camera gear and working on this, and I want to share these projects with you guys and anybody who wants to watch, because I find them interesting if other people do, so that's cool. If not, good on them. And this will be an air-to-air intercooler instead of just putting it directly into the intake, because I don't want to spike my intake temps. It's in a box. I'm running just a simple aluminum intercooler from eBay as well. It'll be a 3-inch inlet and outlet, and then I'll run specific boots to go from the 2.5 off the turbo to the 3-inch, and put a bead roll in it to help hold the boost. This is one of the ones off a Tree Hugger as well. I have the whole motor and all of my turbo system out of that because I'm rebuilding the transmission. And with how that rig is set up, I have to pull the motor and transmission's way easier than dropping the belly in the transfer cases because it's super heavy that way. Plus, I wanted the motor out so I can put studs in it, and with how much cage work is in there and with the rest of the turbo kit on, it makes it really hard to do that. This is not the best way to do this, but this is how I make it work. I don't have a bender to do all this tubing. So I do a bunch of pie cuts. Like this is a super abrupt angle, and it was just simple round tubing. It was an intercooler kit, but I didn't want to put as many boots in it, so I have limited the boots that I needed. I have one strictly off the turbo, one into the intercooler, the other pipe has one on the other side of the intercooler, and then into the intake. So I'm only running 4 boots on that. That's really close to how this system's gonna be. The intercooler will be in front of the radiator like it should. Behind the grill, and then I'm gonna paint it black to hide it. Whole reason why I want to do a turbo kit on this is to make it a sleeper. I've always wanted to do a sleeper, and this is one of my favorite rigs, and I want to put a boosted motor in it because I like building the turbo kit. I had a lot of fun doing this. I have hours upon hours doing this aluminum TIG welding, and so I'm gonna do it again because I think it turned out pretty good. I make decent power in that rig, and I'm gonna make good power in this. I will turn it down so it's not running full out all the time because this will be my daily driver. It does not need to be at 800 horsepower. So if I'm running 4 to 6 pounds of boost, I think that'll be perfect. It'll be 6 pounds of boost, I think I'll still be putting like 350 horsepower to the tire, which is respectable without a doubt. And it also keeps a lot of parts together. I'm not running it super hard. I'm not smoking the tires down. And it's a street rig. I need to do the speed limit so I don't get pulled over. Motor fits pretty good in this. I have the driver's side exhaust manifold bolted on. I'm going to test and see if my crossover I had for the race rig fits in this. This is also the turbo that I was showing you, and the manifold is bolted up. It is a very tight fitting here to run in the factory box. Heater box. This heater box will come out in the future because I am running AC on this rig. So this will run the vintage air system from BJ's Off-Road. So the heater box and AC box will actually get moved inside the cab. But for right now, I don't want to take it out. So I'm going to run my heater lines into it. And with the other turbo that's going to be on this is actually going to run like an S366. I want to go a little bit smaller turbo. I'm not looking for peak horsepower. I'm not looking for peak horsepower, so I want more responsiveness because it's the daily driver. So instead of running this 3-inch to 4-inch V-band, this is straight off of Amazon, but that's what it works in the race rig because I run 4-inch exhaust out the fender. I am going to run 3-inch and stay with a single V-band, so it'll save me some room. I'll build some stainless exhaust and it'll loop down, go through the fender well over the frame, come out underneath the body on this passenger side, and then run a Spintech muffler, a bigger one of their motorhome or truck mufflers, to help quiet some of it down so you can't tell that there's a turbo in this, or at least at idle you won't tell there's a turbo in it. It will run full truck accessories. I am going to change this power steering pump out because this was from a van, so this doesn't have the factory reservoir cap on it, so this will get like a stock 6-liter pump that has dual returns because this is going to end up with a Hydro Boost from a Safari van, so I can have better brakes. I will upgrade to disc brakes in the rear, so it'll in the future, but for right now I'll run this master cylinder because it's set up, and proportioning valve is set up for this disc brake front and drum brake rear. So it's a factory truck accessory drive and pulley spacing. So power steering and alternator bracket, factory truck pump, and factory truck AC compressor, so that all fits. The turbo will be clocked differently. The intercooler piping is actually going to come through right through here, through the core support, to the intercooler that'll be mounted behind the grill, and then on 90 again, coming out of here and loop around over the radiator hose, depending what radiator I run, and straight into the intake. And then the blow-off valve will be probably right here to keep it away from the alternator. I just need to watch where my radiator hoses go. And I'm going to try to set this up with a dual wastegate, still run 44 millimeters. I just got to check my packaging in here because it's going to be very tight. Because right underneath the turbo gets very tight with trying to run AC lines and the heater core lines through to get them into the cab right up here. But the heater core lines for right now will go in and I'll just wrap them. To help with heat underneath the hood, the turbo will get an actually good heater blanket or turbo blanket, and the exhaust will get full fiberglass wrap to help maintain the heat under the engine bay. And running the Terminator X, I only need to run one wideband, which there is one in this factory log, or not factory, this eBay log manifold, but it points at my inner fender, and I don't want to cut that part of the sheet metal out just for the O2 sensor. So I'm going to plug it and end up adding it right off the tubing here, so it points and it's in a good direction and it's not catching a lot of turbulence. So I got to measure it out, make sure it goes in a correct spot and it's not going to get hurt. And the exhaust will be set up off of small rubber mounts and V-band, so I can take it apart. And there also will be the exhaust will have a cutout down below, so it'll open up right behind the rear tire, just so to have it loud for every once in a while, but most of the time it will be closed just for drivability. It'll be super loud and I don't want to annoy everybody. Steering box is going to get changed as well. This has a factory 4-turn Cherokee and Wagoneer box in it, Saginaw 4-bolt. I am going to upgrade it to like a 71 El Camino box, which is just a 70s GM car box. And with doing that, I get to go to a 2.5 turn to 3 turn lock to lock. I'm gonna try to push for the 3 turn because the 2.5 would be a little too much. And then I run that 3 turn box in my Jeep as well. So I know it works. And I know I need a ram assist in my Jeep because that steering box doesn't have enough mechanical advantage to turn the 40s easily. It will do it, just struggle. So I think that box will be perfectly fine to spin and turn these 31s without a problem. And this rig is quite a bit lighter. I think in turn, this thing's only gonna be 4,600 pounds in total with the full fuel tank and everything. My Jeep is 5,600 pounds. And then this will have more horsepower. It'll stay a stock motor, stock cam, because I want the drivability of the factory cam, just more horsepower off of the turbo with more boost. But thanks for watching. I will get more video. You'll see some of the transmission stuff in it because it'll get inputted before this outro. If you like this footage, let me know. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. If you want to check out some of the stuff on my Jeep, I post more of that on Instagram. I will be doing update videos on that as well soon. Thanks for watching. You guys have a blessed day. Good night. Or good day, however you're seeing this.